Oh my God. Dude. I don't even know what to say right now. I mean, I'm feeling a lot of mixed emotions right now. Obviously angry, obviously sad, obviously freaking heartbroken because, man, late in that game, I really thought we were going to win it, okay? We made that comeback. We were down 10 points. We made that comeback in overtime. We had a chance to win multiple times, but the Chicago Bears, like they seem to always do, we beat ourselves yet again. Beat ourselves. Make no mistake about it, guys, because for the majority of this game, the Bears actually looked like they had more talent on the football field, okay? If you look at how our offense was playing early on, Foles was throwing some darts down the field. We were moving the ball pretty effectively. The run game was working too. The offensive line was playing a lot better. And our defense, although they were allowing Drew Brees to drive down the field with all these slants and screen passes, in the red zone, they were pretty tough like they've always been. So early on in this game, I mean, the game was really in the Bears' hands. And we could have easily blown that game open in the first half if a few plays go differently, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But in the second half, guys, the Chicago Bears showed us exactly why a lot of people do not take us seriously, even though we have 5 wins on the year. It's because we beat ourselves with silly, dumb mistakes. Mistakes that winning football teams do not make. Mistakes that well-coached football teams do not make. I gotta talk about that punch that Javon Wims threw in the second half that resulted in his ejection and also resulted in a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct. That was one of the most boneheaded, idiotic plays that I've seen in a long time. I don't care how mad you are. I don't care what he said. You have to keep your cool and be the bigger man, okay? Especially when you're in a close game like this against another winning football team, okay? You can't be making stupid, dumb mental errors like that. Obviously, Gardner Johnson, number 22, he was talking a lot of trash the entire game. He also put his finger in Wims' face mask, which maybe that could have been called too. But to come back and straight up just punch the guy in the helmet, why are you even doing that? Okay, you're not going to hurt the man with the helmet on. That was just so stupid, and it really cost us big time because after that, Nick Foles threw a costly interception in our own territory, which was 100% on Nick Foles. That was a terrible ball, which he has thrown a lot of these bad balls now during his time with the Chicago Bears. Even though he has certain times where he looks like an accurate quarterback, he has way too many of these passes too, which are severely underthrown, which don't really have any chance of getting to the target. So he missed Jimmy Graham, who he was targeting, but that ball really had no chance of being completed. So it was a terrible, stupid mistake by Nick Foles, who has been making too many of these lately. Another huge mistake that Nick Foles made was that in the second half on our first drive, on 3rd and 4, he had a delay of game penalty where he just was not aware of the time running out, okay? Charles Leno he told him, okay? He was like, oh, hurry up, the time is running out. But Nick Foles did nothing about that, and he cost us with that delay of game penalty because after that, it became 3rd and long, and this Bears offense is so putrid on 3rd and long. So that was another mistake that Nick Foles made. There were a lot of mistakes by our quarterback, which I will talk about a little bit later, but there were also a lot of mistakes by our coaching staff, both on offense and on defense. I mean, Matt Nagy's play calling in the second half, specifically in that third quarter, he went back to that stale, pathetic offense that really does not work, okay? I still do not get why Matt Nagy so badly wants Cordarrelle Patterson to be involved in this offense, okay? If it does not work, just leave it, okay? Try something else. You don't have to prove a point to us by trying Cordarrelle Patterson on these screen passes, all these other plays that never work. That's the thing. They never work. If they worked at least a couple times, I'd be okay with trying them, but they never work. So Coach Nagy's stubbornness and his lack of adjustments is why we scored 0 points in that third quarter, which, by the way, guys, we are the worst third quarter scoring team by a significant margin, which that shows you how bad the coaching is right now, okay? Good teams, they come out into that third quarter firing after they make their adjustments, but Matt Nagy does not know how to make adjustments. So Pagano also has to be criticized though, because the Saints were running what seemed like the most predictable offense ever. They only had one weapon in this game, Alvin Kamara, but he still went off at certain times in this game. Pagano had Khalil Mack in coverage on Kamara, which is when he had that big run. I mean, that was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, but also Chuck Pagano's, unwillingness to send any sort of pressure, any sort of blitzes towards the way of Drew Brees, it does not make any sense at all to me, okay? Because all the passes that Drew Brees was throwing, they were only going like 2, 3, 4 yards, but the receivers were doing damage after the catch. That was the only way in which this Saints offense was moving the ball down the field. And also every time Taysom Hill was in the game, it was a run. Taysom Hill didn't throw the football even once. I mean, everybody and their mother knew when Taysom Hill checked in, it was going to be a run. So why was he converting on so many of those runs? Drew Brees finished the game with 280 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a passer rating of 109.8. So pretty much doing what he's been doing throughout this entire season. But I thought the Chicago Bears defense, the dominant defense that we have, would be able to stop it. But Chuck Pagano wanted no part in doing that, okay? They only had one damn weapon the entire game to throw to and to run with. That was Alvin Kamara. He had over, I think 160, 170 all-purpose yards. That was their only guy, but we could not keep track of this one guy. So a guy like Roquan Smith, he was playing the game of his life. He was making some big-time plays when we needed them the most, also in overtime, also in the fourth quarter. I mean, there were some positives on the defensive side of the football. They did not play good enough to win this game. The poor coverage by Jalen Johnson at the end of the first half really did change the momentum in this game, because if that touchdown is not scored by the Saints, I mean, I do think we end up winning this game, because that was a huge momentum shift for the New Orleans Saints. I know that they had a terrible call go their way. There was pass interference on Kyle Fuller. It was a phantom pass interference. Yeah, there was contact maybe, but you don't call pass interference on that. So that put the Saints in position to score, and they did score because Jalen Johnson blew his coverage kind of. I mean, he didn't blow it, but he played a soft coverage way back where he should have been on top of that route and been closer to the receiver. It seemed like Jalen Johnson was ready to go into the half, but that was also a poor coverage call by Chuck Pagano. Okay, he should have had an extra safety back there probably with how the time was running out. There was barely any time left on the clock, so why not have an extra safety there to help Jalen Johnson out? So I don't get that call at all. And overall, the Bears defense allowed almost 400 total yards to the New Orleans Saints, which is absolutely unacceptable when they only had one weapon on this entire offense and a quarterback that wasn't even throwing the ball down the field. So it really pissed me off how the defense played. It was definitely not good enough, but obviously a lot of blame also does go to the offense, okay? Even though the offense did score 23 points, I mean, that's beyond my wildest dreams, my wildest imaginations. To score 23 points for the Bears offense, that's a big freaking deal. But when you look at how poor the Saints pass defense is and how poor it was for a good portion of this game, only scoring 23 is also not good enough, okay? We have to hold the Bears offense to the same standards we hold other NFL offenses. And only scoring 23 points when he had so many opportunities in this game to put up a lot more, okay? In the first half, we could have easily been up 17-3 if Nick Foles actually throws to Jimmy Graham, who had the pretty much a wide open touchdown there, okay? Because I know the defender was draped on him, but Jimmy Graham really boxed out and he could have easily had that ball for a touchdown, but Foles chose to not throw his way, so that was a poor decision by Nick Foles. Led to us only scoring a field goal. And in the second half, guys, I mean, specifically the third quarter, our offense chose not to show up like they never have throughout this entire year. The offensive line, which looked improved in the first half, they took massive steps backwards. In the second half, there were a lot of miscommunications, a lot of misassignments, and a lot of pressure allowed on Nick Foles. And guys, Rashad Coward, I mean, he still sucks, okay? Surprise, surprise. This dude still sucks. He still cannot block. So I don't understand why he is still starting for us like in these games, okay? There has to be somebody out there on the free agent market, or at least make a trade or something that would be an upgrade over Rashad Coward. But for some reason, Ryan Pace refuses to replace this guy. So O-line really fell apart in the second half. They allowed 5 sacks, but I do have to say that some of these sacks were the fault of Nick Foles, okay? His immobility and also his unwillingness to step up in the pocket. I mean, this dude just wants to keep on backpedaling until the offensive line collapses and the pass rushers crash in on him. I just do not understand why he does it, okay? He's a veteran quarterback. He has the ability to throw the ball away. I mean, that was one of his biggest traits coming into here. He has quick decision-making, quick processing skills. He can get rid of the ball super fast, but we have not seen any of that so far because he just sits with the ball all day long in the pocket. Obviously, you have to talk about that play on third down in overtime where Nick Foles refused to run for the first down, even though he most likely would not have gone that, okay? Obviously, Nick Foles, he's nowhere close to being a fast, mobile guy in this league, but he really did not even try to run for that. Now, Mitch Trubisky, guys, I mean, in my opinion, he would have picked up that first down. I'm not trying to say that Mitch is a better quarterback than Nick Foles, but I'm just saying that Mitch has a certain level of mobility that Nick Foles doesn't have that comes in handy with the poor offensive line. I mean, there are certain times in this game where I feel like Mitch's mobility could have honestly benefited us so much. I'm not going to act like Nick Foles didn't have his moments in this game, because he definitely did. And when he did have a clean pocket, he looked like a pretty accurate quarterback. Okay, obviously in that first half, that throw to A-Rob in the end zone, that was with a totally clean pocket where he had no really pressure in his face, which really shows you that, look, Nick Foles, as a pocket passer, he can be pretty accurate if you give him an offensive line. But the thing is, though, guys, is that we don't have an offensive line. We don't have great blocking. So I just don't understand how long-term a quarterback like Nick Foles is going to have a lot of success. You need better blocking up front. You also need better play calling situationally, which Nick Foles is not getting right now. And also, some of his interceptions, I really cannot defend at all. I mean, this dude turns the ball over at a rate way higher than Mitch Trubisky. So I'm not going to say anything right now on who should start the next game, because that's a very controversial topic that people start hating on me for if I give my opinion. But I'm just saying that as of right now, I really don't know what the quarterback situation is. Foles is pretty accurate when he has a clean pocket. He also makes some good decisions late in games, which give him the reputation of being clutch. I mean, he definitely is clutch because he led a very good fourth quarter comeback effort. I mean, we could have won that game in overtime because of the effort that Nick Foles gave us in that fourth quarter. We had some beautiful throws on fourth down to A-Rob, to Miller. I mean, Miller seemed like he was wide open a good portion of this game, and Nick Foles did find him pretty often. So some very good drives in the fourth quarter by Nick Foles. He was pretty clutch, but I also cannot get over the fact that he did make some pretty dumb mistakes that did cost us in the game too. So if I look at his stat line, he passed for 272 passing yards. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a passer rating also of 92.7. So okay numbers, but they could also be a lot better. So overall, guys, it was a collective team effort, a collective team loss in which both the offense and the defense did not play well enough to win the game, even though we had so many opportunities in front of us to steal this game in Soldier Field. I mean, Roquan Smith, he could have had a game-winning pick 6. If Nick Foles throws a touchdown on any one of these occasions, that could have changed the game if he doesn't make that interception. I mean, football is definitely a game of inches, and we lost that game of inches today. So I'm obviously not going to give up hope on the season like a lot of people seem to be, but this team has serious flaws that I don't know if we're going to fix this year. Okay, if we go out and beat the Titans next weekend, I mean, I will be happy, and maybe we can correct some of these mistakes, but it just seems like we get out-coached every single game. The play calling is not working. The defense at certain times, it's not being as dominant as it should be. So these losses, man, they're just so disappointing because we had this game, man. We could have won this game, and the Bears failed to do it. So terrible game by us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. As always, bear down.